Good afternoon, everyone. Samantha here from Methodist College, Kuala Lumpur, or we are also known as MCKL, and I will be the host for today's forum as we will be speaking on stopping the stigma against social work in Malaysia. Before we begin, I would like to thank all of our viewers for taking time to join us for the forum today. Now, if you have any questions, please add your questions in the Q&A box below, and our speakers will answer them after this forum today. Now, if you did not manage to register for the talk today, no worries, as we are also live on Facebook, so you can watch us on our Facebook at MCKL, and do like us while you're at it. So now joining me today are three very special individuals who are passionate about making a change in communities all over Malaysia and also hopefully one day in the world, guys. So please please join me in welcoming Ms. Jolyn Hong, who is the head of the Diploma in Social Work program at MCKL. She is a graduate with a master's in professional counseling from the University of Malaya, and she also has a bachelor's degree in social science, majoring in psychology. She's also a registered counsellor with Lembaga Counsellor Malaysia and has 10 years of experience from the humanitarian, non-profit and education sector in Malaysia. The second speaker for today that will be joining me is Ms. Tina Yap, who is a community development worker at Malaysian CARE. Now, Ms. Tina holds a master's degree in social work from University Utara, Malaysia. She has been with Malaysian CARE since 2003. And she also holds many hats in the social work industry as an honorary secretary with the Malaysian Association of Social Workers. She represents the Alliance of Christian Caregivers and Social Workers in Malaysia. And she's currently the appointed member of the Special Team Project by the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, chosen to assist the process of the social work profession bill in Malaysia. So that's very interesting to have her on with us today, everyone. And the last person, who is Marianne Tsen, she is a community development worker from focusing on social concerns, community development department at Damansara Utaya not Medical Center, but Methodist Church. I always get that mixed up, forgive me. And she actually completed her diploma in social work at MCKL back in 2017. And she's currently doing what she does now, giving back to the community and making sure that she serves not only DUMC, but she also serves different ministries in ECS, including food bank, case management, urban community development, street ministry, and breakthrough rehabilitation center. That's very amazing, coming from three different women from three different industries. You have covered a lot of in the community since whenever you started. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me today. And we are actually going to talk about the stigma against social work that has been going on in Malaysia for years. Let's start off with Ms. Jolyn and also Ms. Tina, who will be actually answering questions on stopping the stigma against social work. So the first question is directed to Ms. Jolyn. How does a social worker earn annually? I know it's a very generic question. A lot of people ask us, for someone in the social work industry, how much do they make actually? Will there be a difference in salary between experienced staff and also a fresh graduate? So Ms. Jolyn.
Okay, first off, thank you very much, Samantha, for the lovely introduction. Well, yes, this is a very commonly asked question. I would say, yes, it differs from which industry you're in. So let me start off by, let's say for a fresh grad, okay, for fresh grad with a diploma, I would say if you have no work experience yet, yes, you will be able to work in multiple different industries, and the salary range does change, I guess, does differ from industry to industry. If you work, let's say, in the government sector, I'm assuming it's not an accurate figure, but it's around 1.5K and above, or around that range. But as long as you have experience as you go on, the salary range does increase. Of course, your qualification also does make a difference. If you have a degree, which means you're able to specialize somewhat a little bit more into a certain area. For example, Ms. Marianne is for community development. right? And Miss Tina has her own experience in a certain sector. As of course, if you go higher, such as master's degree, that will make a difference as well as what kind of NGO you're in. If it's a larger scale NGO, yes, the salary scale will be slightly higher as compared to the smaller NGO. As you know, in Malaysia, we do have various kind of NGO working with various issues. Well, that's a little bit from me. Maybe Ms. Tina would like to add on a little bit.
Thank you, Jolyn, for the explanation. I mean, coming from myself, because I've been all the while from the NGO, non-government organization, non-profit base. So I would say, because we're talking about, the diploma entry, yeah, of course, if you, upon graduate without working experience, you may definitely earn lower, below 2,000. Yeah, but if you're talking about after you complete your diploma, then you actually pursue on to degree level. If you've chosen your pathway to actually serve in a NGO setting, your salary starting will be minimum about 1.9 to 2K. Yeah, so I hope that this will actually, I think this is something that, parents would want to know. And most often when I actually try to promote the course itself, the education itself, the common question that I got from parents or even potential students, they will ask, how much would I earn upon graduate at the diploma entry? What if, what is the pathway if I continue to pursue my higher education? And also, I think we cannot deny the fact that salary is one of the consideration factor. Yeah, I guess Jolyn also will agree, and also Marianne. Yeah, so I would actually speak on behalf from the NGO setting. So I would say if a diploma level, yeah, this is, it is current, because we do not have a legislation, there's no regulation in place. And later I will share a little bit more about, what are the common misconceptions when we talk about social work as a profession itself. Okay.
Right, thank you so much, Ms. Tina and Ms. Jolyn. Now, Ms. Tina, since we are focusing on you right now, most Malaysians see social work as a voluntary role rather than a profession, you see. And coming from someone who has been in the industry itself for many years, since 2003, what is your output on addressing this stigma?
Okay. I have to be honest, unfortunately, the public understanding of social work as an actual profession, not as a voluntary role, is relatively lacking in Malaysia. Yeah, and in fact, many, even my friends or even in the public, many are unaware that social work is actually a paid vocation that require qualified and properly trained individual. Because most of them, they will assume, hey, you are a social worker. The first thing is they will ask how much you are earning and also what you are getting paid for doing good to the community. So I guess a lot of people are unaware actually social work is a paid job. Yeah, it's a paid vocation. And of course, showing kindness and compassion, are important traits, imperative traits for either you are serving as a voluntary role or even as a social work setting as well. But I guess it's important for the public to be aware that social workers require high level of knowledge. They need to be trained, skilled, as well as they need to know how to draw the values and ethics in order to deliver competent services to support vulnerable individuals or communities in need. Okay, and take for example, let's say in a medical health setting, doctors in Malaysia. Yeah, I actually took some time to actually study a bit. What it takes to be a doctor in Malaysia. In fact, they have to go through at least typically 5 years of medical degree program, followed by compulsory housemanship program before eventually that they are qualified to be a practicing doctor and also to work directly with patients. And also, if you look at our teachers, they also need to undergo specific, education or training before they are even allowed to teach children or work with the children and families. So, when I share with other friends, no one would ever think that, hey, what? In order for you to actually do social work, you need to hold a paper qualification. Yeah, so that's a bit of irony lah. So in addressing this, I believe that as a person in the field, we need to constantly engage in a healthy conversation and do share about it. Yeah, even through this platform, I believe that, some of us, it may be first time for them to heard about the word social work. Some of us are here because they want to know what is social work, who is this social worker. So I believe that by sharing, by talking about it, not to shy it away, is actually one way of addressing this kind of stigma. Yeah, and also another misconception that may actually cause more harm is actually what do you call it? If because of this misconception, in fact, it actually causes more harm than empowering the people. When individuals claim that they are social workers, when in fact they are not actually qualified, they are not even trained in social work to address especially complex situations. If you read the news, you can hear, especially with the, since the COVID-19, you can hear a lot of increased cases of domestic violence, which may require psychosocial intervention and also case management practice. So imagine if, let's say, someone who claimed that I am a social worker, what are we portraying to the beneficiary? Are they really qualified? Are they really trained to address such complex, dynamic situation? And furthermore, like I mentioned earlier on, the lack of regulation, somehow it may actually open up to misconception that social workers equate to volunteers. But the good news here, I would like to assure the social work profession bill, if you have read the news, for those that are not aware, the social work profession bill is actually at the final phase as announced by the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. So hopefully, this could actually give a boost, inject some form of boost so that social work can be recognized in Malaysia. And hopefully this may actually, when it's being enacted, this will hopefully open up more opportunity for the students, potential students, as well as to change the public view about social work and who are these social workers when they are recognized as a profession. So we hope that when the enactment comes in, they actually give a brighter prospect, for people who really want to know more about social work, who has really passionate about the work, but may not know there's actually a cause for them. Yeah.
Right, very interesting. Thank you, Ms. Tina. Now, a lot of Malaysians, they see there's no valid reason to be a professional, social worker. You don't actually need to be qualified in order to volunteer or to give back to society. And a lot of them, they actually don't believe that, doing good, does not require a qualification. However, in this industry, especially the social work industry, you have to have a qualification. So what is your intake on this and on the difference between being a volunteer versus being a professional social worker or in the industry itself? And why is it, very important to be qualified?
Okay, I think just now you highlighted the keyword volunteer and doing good. Yeah, I think for a social worker, being a social worker needs more than just doing good. It is not about doing good. Yeah, social workers, like I mentioned earlier, they are trained to actually place the best interests of the people that they are working with, in which actually give meaning and definition to social work. So when a person is trained or termed as social worker, they are based on social work principles. They have values, they have knowledge. But when we talk about volunteer, yes, they are perfect. Yeah, they're doing good work, especially with the pandemic. They contribute their time, their talent, and it's according to their free will. I believe every one of us here, each one of us can sign up as a volunteer as long that you have the time, as long you're willing to do the work, you're willing to help, So example, volunteer, they may volunteer for various reasons. For some of us, we volunteer because of, you want to show kindness, or maybe you have interest to help. Maybe you want to actually meet new people, get to know new people. But however, if you compare volunteer itself or voluntary role itself with a social worker, it's actually a totally different, it is totally different. Yeah. What makes it different is volunteers, they are not bound by social work professions, ethics, values, or principles. And volunteers, they don't even need to be paid to volunteer. Yeah, but social worker, like I mentioned earlier, it is a paid job. Yeah, and you are bound by values, ethics, your profession, your practice as well. Yeah, so social worker, they are also, they have ethical practice. Yeah, it's a real profession job like doctors, like lawyers, like teachers, which require human knowledge. So you need to be trained to be skillful in order how to actually engage with different people in different setting. Example, when you work with individual, when you work with families, or even when you work in a group itself or committee as large. So you need to know their strength. You need to explore what are the existing resources available within the committee. You need to have, you need to be very clear. You need to have clarity in policy, legal perspective, context. And also, this will actually help you to be able to provide and respond to the needs more competently. And social worker must know how to facilitate and advocate for change. So it is not just merely help the person, but you have to think a bit more bigger context. You need to think about social change. You need to advocate for change, build resilience. You're not totally, when you help the person, the problem is totally gone, but you are actually helping the person to build resilient, how to actually function better than before, the social functioning of the person or the community as whole. So if you have, if you read up the news, I believe that, during the COVID-19, you can see vulnerability of abuse, domestic violence, and also people feeling of isolation. I think yesterday I read, I think someone circulate a statistic by the Royal Malaysia Police Force. Yeah, so they actually highlighted at least 857 young people, took their life from January 2019 all the way to May 2021. And out of this group, 857 young people, children aged between 15 to 18, that means they took up about 51%, of the total recorded case during that period. So it's very alarming. Yeah. So in order to support families or children, especially dealing with mental health, we need a multi-dimension approach from trained profession, including social worker, to actually help this group of people to provide, how to actually cope with the situation in view that with the prolonged COVID-19 situation. So I believe in one thing is in effort to do no harm, advocating for human rights, as well as to build resilience for our community, acquiring social work qualification is somehow inevitable. We cannot deny the fact we need, especially practitioners who are long in the field, but without at least a basic certification or diploma entry is very difficult because they themselves have to come to realization we need to be equipped in order to adapt creatively. Yeah, especially with the pandemic situation. It definitely totally changed the way we work. We can no longer work based on what we know, based on our past experience. Yes, it does help, but we have to continuously develop further so that we are more prepared, we are more equipped to deal with the current pandemic situation, which will actually change the way we work as well with the community.
Very interesting, Ms. Tina. Okay, Ms. Jolyn, from someone who is coming from the academic side of the social work program, what is your intake on this? The difference between volunteer and a professional in the industry. Is it necessary to actually have a qualification, to practice social work in Malaysia?
Well, I think Ms. Tina has actually summarized it very well. So I'm just going to give a scenario that's very easily understood. Let's say if you want to work with someone who is in a B40 community, those are the people who are in poverty. Volunteers, when you go in, what do? You see people who are in need. How do you help? You deal with their immediate needs. You give them food, which is needed. I agree. You provide them with certain financial help that is needed. Agree. How is it different than what does a social worker do? The social worker is there to empower them as a community. They go and search up what is everybody's skills. How can we use their skills to develop them as a community? How can they survive on their own? Because they cannot forever depend on the community to give them help for food and financial help. They always need to be empowered to survive on their own. And that's the difference between what a social worker do and what a volunteer do. I'm not disregarding the importance of volunteers. They are there, they are doing good, they are helping with immediate needs. But we can't just help someone based on immediate needs. It's just basically putting a band-aid on their wound. You need to learn how to help them heal those wounds, how to help them to be strong, and to contribute back to the society that they are in. So social workers role in all this is very much different than what the volunteers are. So I guess that's my take on what the difference is between a volunteer as well as a social worker.
Right, thank you so much, Ms. Jolyn. Now, as we move on towards the comprehensive approach with social work at MCKL, coming from a person who is in the industry, you've been working in the industry for quite some time, and now you're actually heading the department that focus on diploma in social work at MCKL. I believe you do have some information that you would like to share to all our viewers here. Why don't you talk a little bit more about the diploma program, and we will, I have actually a few questions. We can cover that after that. Let's just cover your presentation first on the program.
All right, thank you very much. Now, those questions sound scary now. All right, if you allow me to share my screen for a while. All right, can everybody see this? Okay, so just a little bit about MCKL's program for Diploma in Social Work, all right? So first of all, we'd just like to introduce you to the Diploma in Social Work in MCKL and what are some of the key features, all right? We are one of the first private college to offer DSW in Malaysia. Most of our other universities, public universities, they offer degree in social work. Now, we do have another college, private college, that's offering diploma in social work now, which is Methodist Pillay. Okay, but in, let's say, Peninsula Malaysia, I guess, we are the only one for MCKL, right? How does coming into diploma in social work benefits? Okay, we do have a really wide range of lecturers, all experienced, and all our lecturers are practitioners in social work. So they are able to help our students in terms of real life scenario, application of their theories, right? So we do have, and our diploma in social work will allow our students to actually acquire membership with the MASW, which is Malaysian Association for Social Workers, right? So the curriculum in Methodist College is specifically developed to meet the international social work education standards, as well as to encompass the national competency standards for social work practice in Malaysia, all right? And as you all know, and what Ms. Tina has mentioned a little while earlier, right? We are in the last phase of actually tabling this bill, the social work profession bill, okay? And once this bill is enacted, it will require all social workers to be registered and to be issued certificate by the Social Work Profession Council. Okay, so which means to say all social workers have to be registered. They must have quote unquote a license or Ms. Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It's somewhat like a license, right? To be able to practice professionally, competency, okay? So in MCKL, we do have 2 intakes per year, right? Which is in January and August, and we have 3 modes. So students are actually free to choose which mode they want. Full-time mode, part-time, as well as micro-credential. I will be explaining this a little bit more in a while, right? And right now, I guess for our August intake for 2021, we are offering a 50% tuition fee waiver, all right? Because this is the first time we are offering our diploma as a full-time program, okay? We have been conducting this diploma for the past 4 years, and it's usually all for part-time. Okay, so this is the first time we are offering it for full-time, but so we are going to give a 50% tuition waiver for both full-time and part-time. So anyone who's interested can actually contact the admission office in MCKL. Now, if we want to talk a little bit about the syllabus, how relevant our syllabus, right? In MCKL, we do develop subjects that are very relevant, such as in terms of human behavior, social environment. This is something that social workers need to know. Social workers, as Ms. Tina said just now, has to be familiar with the social policies, the laws, the type of program that's needed for each community. We also train them in terms of social work methods, such as case management. We train them in intervention skills. We also do train our students in certain areas of social work practice, such as health and mental health. We do train them in drug and alcohol addiction. We also train them in terms of the elderly and aging, all right? and we do have field placements. We do conduct a total of 2 field placements throughout their 3 years with us. So if you want to have a look at the complete list of subjects, I'm just going to flash it out really quickly here. All right, so if you can see, it's really a wide range of things that you'll be learning, from psychology to sociology to counseling, all right, to public policy. We're also teaching them about case work, group work, community work, right? So it's really a comprehensive syllabus, I would say. Okay, and as I was saying just now, we have 3 modes of studies. So the part-time and the micro-credential ones, we usually try to encourage those frontliners and volunteer workers, like what Ms. Tina said just now. A lot of volunteers are really passionate. Okay, they want to help, they want to do good, but some of them want to go further a little bit, but they do not have the qualifications yet. So we are offering this diploma in part-time and micro-credential mode so that these people are able to obtain the knowledge and the skills that they need to continue helping. All right. The full-time mode, on the other hand, I'm starting to see a lot of students these days, and even a lot in high school, they do volunteer works. All right, they expose the students to volunteer works and as well as some social issues. And we've seen a lot of interest from the younger population. We've seen all over media how even the white flag movement was started off by a bunch of youth. Okay, so we do see the potential in younger students actually wanting to be in this industry. So we are opening this as a full-time mode so that these students actually has an opportunity to be trained professionally so that they can go out there and be a competent social worker. All right. So if you want to know a little bit about the programs, in the full-time programs, the duration is 2 years, 4 months. Classes will be Monday to Friday. Entry requirements is 3 credits in SPM. All right. So the fees, as I said, we are going to be giving out a 50% fee waiver, all right? So for the part-time mode, a lot of us are working adults, and some of us want to continue getting, we want to consider getting a diploma in social work. So this particular program was crafted for working adults especially. So if you can see, the classes are only on Fridays and Saturdays. And we also do alternate it. So week 1 will be a face-to-face, you come into campus. Week 2, you'll be doing it online. So just to give more leniency for working adults, all right? So these are the fees. And we also have micro-credential programs. Micro-credential programs are for those adults or students who they don't want to take the diploma, but there are certain subjects that they want to enhance their skills in. Maybe they just want to enhance their skill in counseling, or maybe they want to enhance their skill in case management or public policy. They can actually just join the subject itself as a micro-credential. All right. So you are allowed to take, depending on when we offer it, you are allowed to take that one subject only. And if you take a few subjects, then people realize, oh, maybe I want to continue finishing up the whole diploma. Those credits can be transferred. Whatever that you have taken before will consider it as a credit, and you transfer it into your part-time or your full-time mode. Okay. So these are some of the subjects that's available for micro-credential in August 2021. Okay, so I guess that's a little bit of my sharing in regards of what it is for Diploma in Social Work in MCKL. Back to you, Samantha.
Thank you, Ms. Jolyn. Now, I have a few questions which, on my side, as well as, the audience has also a few questions, which we will actually be covering at the end of the session. For my questions, it's more related to, what you have just presented to the public. And my first question is, how recognized is the Diploma in Social Work program at MCKL? Relating to that question as a continuation, will individuals be able to pursue a career with the diploma itself, or do organizations actually require them to actually have a degree instead? So can you share a little bit about that?
Okay, in terms of how recognized MCKL's diploma is, it is recognized by the Malaysian Association for Social Workers, right? So which is why I mentioned that our students will be able to register as membership for the MASW, all right? Unfortunately, because Malaysia has not enacted the bill yet, So it is like we are not, there's no bill to adhere to, so there's no law or anything like that. So we are not yet recognized. Once the bill is being passed, we are working very closely with the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. So it is our students will be able to register as a professional social worker. And in terms of your second question, sorry, what was the second question again?
Will individuals be able to pursue a career with the diploma, or do they actually need a degree instead?
Okay. Well, with a diploma in social work, you'll definitely be able to get employed. Marianne is your perfect example. She is an MCKL alumni. She is working, right? Marianne, you're working, right? Okay, good. All right. So it depends on what sector you want to be working in. As a fresh graduate in terms of diploma in social work, you will be able to work in, let's say, the government sector together with the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. I guess some of the roles that will be applicable for this particular ministry will be welfare assistance, okay? As well as you can work in multiple NGOs, okay? Like Marianne is working with the community development. So with a diploma in social work, you'll be able to get career opportunities for sure. But if any student wants to further their studies into a degree, because we do have 7 public universities that's offering a degree in social work. Of course, with a degree, you have better prospect, right? If your years of experience is limited, the degree will help you out in terms of getting a higher position, higher pay. So I guess it works that way, like what I was mentioning at the beginning of this forum.
Thank you, Jolyn. Okay, so what are the niche aspects of the social work profession, that MCKL covers? How does it differ to other institutions that offer social work?
Okay, like I mentioned, in terms of Peninsula, in Peninsula Malaysia, we are the only college that's offering diploma in social work. The other universities, which are really good, but they are offering a degree in social work instead. So we do cater to the working adults quite a bit. That's why I say we formulated the part-time programs as well as the micro-credential programs. So even with the entry requirements of 3 SPM, I understand a lot of workers out there who has been actively engaged in social work, they may not have the 3 credits to register. However, we do open an avenue for APEL applications. APEL is an application by the MQA, which is Malaysian Quality Assurance Department, whereby people with working experiences, they can actually go in and get an APEL certificate. So the APEL certificate is just merely a gauge to see whether they have the minimum competency to be able to, as well as the working experience to be able to register into a diploma level, right? So our students, some of our students actually went to take the APEL certificate and they're able to join us in our part-time or full-time program. So I guess that's one thing that is pretty different between how we offer social work diploma. And as I said, in terms of the syllabus, we do cover quite a big range of, in terms of psychology, sociology, policy making and all that. So I guess that's how we're different.
Thank you, Ms. Jolyn. Okay. Now, looking at individuals who are working in the related fields, you have psychologists, you have counselors, social workers, behavioral therapists. They would definitely need to have a very strong mindset, which requires a lot of listening, patience, practice when dealing with all of these cases, right? Now, how does diploma program kind of prepare them? They have been in the industry already. So yeah, how does it kind of prepare them for people who are currently already in the industry? They're already doing it, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So but they don't have the qualification. So how does the diploma program prepare them for this?
That's a very good question. I would say that even among social workers who's been working for years and years, we do go through burnout. It's not an easy job. It is a very rewarding job. Yes, it's not an easy job. But the good thing about how we prepare our students is we do have a range of really experienced lecturers, which will be able to share with you their tips of how to manage a case better, how not to burn out, how to see things in perspective. Because understand that social workers sees quite a bit of the dark side, okay, for the lack of better words. And it's very important for social workers to be able to manage their own emotions. So our counselors and our lecturers are all there to always journey with our students all the way. And as well as, other than class practice session, we do throw them out into the field quite a bit. Like I said, we have 2 field placements. So that is when they can really apply it. Maybe Marianne could be able to share a little bit of her experience of how we throw her to the wolves. Marianne?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yes, I think one thing that I learned in these practicum during the course that I had was very helpful, because basically I'm actually working while studying in this diploma, and through this practicum, actually it opens up my my mind in understanding not just only my own organization, but I also be able to actually understand from other NGO or any other organizations that, are different way of how they look at things, and it's kind of very, very rich, I would say. Is because when we were thrown, like what Jolyn said, thrown to these places, we are not actually going to swim by ourselves. Like every time when we go for our practicum, we basically come back with, with our experience, in the sense that we come back from all this 5 days work with other NGO or organization. Our lecturer actually sat us down and asked us, okay, how's your week this week? And what are the challenges? What did you see? So this is basically, it's not just only the academic way, but it's also teaching us to see beyond what we have in hand and what we have, what we only know. So it was very very rich for me during this whole practicum. And without fail, I was always waiting for the Saturday to just go back and, kind of report to my lecturer. Oh, you know what? These are the things, what do you think? A lot of interaction, a lot of engaging. It's not just only by books, but a lot of all this critical thinking was allowed to all of us, basically to experience it in a way. It's a real life thing. It's not like just on a book itself, but it's real life practicing what we are doing.
Right, thank you so much, Marianne. Now, we will be actually moving on towards the recognition and the rewarding career opportunity part of social workers with Ms. Tina and also Ms. Jolyn. If Marianne, if you would like to, add on from there, you can as well. So the first question, how crucial does Malaysia need qualified social workers, by having these professionals do the program, the diploma program? How would it benefit them in general, and help them in their current positions in the industry? Ms. Jolyn, maybe you can answer that, and Ms. Tina, you can support, you can add on your input from there.
Okay, how much do Malaysians need social worker? Let me bore you all with a little bit of statistics here. Okay, in Malaysia, by ratio, okay, we have 1 social worker to around every 8,000 people. Okay, in other countries, let's say in the US, they have 1 social worker for every 4,000 people. In Australia, 1 social worker to every 1,000 people. Okay, in the UK, 1 social worker to every 3,000 people. And Singapore, same, almost the same, 1 social worker to every 3,000 people. So I hope that the statistic gives you a little bit of an insight about how much Malaysia do need professional social workers. And as I think Ms. Tina and Ms. Marianne can adhere to, about how much they have on their plate, even right now. So yes. Tina, how many cases do you have on hand?
I mean, just to refocus back, about the statistic. I think this is the study done by the Malaysian Administrative Modernization and Management Planning Unit, like what Jolyn just shared. The ratio of social worker to population ratio in Malaysia, 1 to 8,576. Yeah. So I think this was reported back in 2019, yeah, whereby our former DPM actually mentioned, our former DPM, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza actually mentioned, because of this, what's the outcome? They recognize that there's a shortage of social workers is actually one of the contributing factor that actually, you know, cause ineffective efforts to address social problems in the nation. And I want to really further add on to that statistic. Yeah, actually, I also have prepared, I've written down a statistic here. This was done back in 2014-2015, a caseload study by the Malaysian Association of Social Workers on the 29 social welfare officers, insurance services. We are talking about non-institution in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor itself. Okay, that was back in 2014-2015. These are among 29 social welfare officers in KL and Selangor working insurance services, actually found that one officer, that means each officer, they had at least average caseload of 53. Okay, so if you compare to overseas in US or Britain, in Australia, the recommendation of one social worker to manage a child protection or juvenile cases is actually average 15 to 30 the max. But here in Malaysia, back then already 53 cases is a very huge load for even the social welfare officers to actually look into it. And what more, if you look at since the pandemic situation, if you have been following the news, you can see our welfare officers, they are responsibility not just to actually look into casework as well. They now expected to take on extra load, to actually assist. Yeah, example, they are assigned to manage the food distribution, quarantine center as well. So this would actually, when you talk about, I think one question that Samantha asked, how crucial does Malaysia need qualified social workers? If you look at, the current situation, it definitely has exacerbated the needs for more social workers to be trained, especially in responding to the needs of the community. If you have been following the news, you look at the unemployment rate in Malaysia. I think yesterday I was trying to look at the unemployment rate. There's actually a deep unemployment rate up to 4.6%. People are not employed, although there's an improvement by 1% compared to month of March. But because of, I think you all know that, EMCO in Selangor and targeted area in Kuala Lumpur. In fact, with the prolong of MCO, actually, and also movement restriction, this may actually be challenging in terms of the labor market condition. So we are talking about sustainability, more and more, more and more issue and concerns related to unemployment rate. And furthermore, the low-income families that we work with, either B40 and also including the middle income M40, they are not even spared from this condition because of their earned income. Their takeaway income is depleting, while their commitment may actually be the same. They have house to pay, house loan to pay, car loan to pay, medical bill. And also with the recent announcement by the, I think, about what they call it, recent announcement by the government on iCitra, withdrawal up to 5,000, from their retirement fund, EPF. Similarly, if it's like Ghana mixed response. Some of them felt, it's a very good effort from the government. It's actually provide relief, people who really need cash liquidity. But at the same time, we have to think, what is the long-term impact in terms of the vulnerability, especially individuals starting to lose their retirement saving. So I can foresee the work of social workers. There's a potential, even more after the post-pandemic or even the current situation, potential of homelessness and also elderly care concern at a later age. When people starting to lose their retirement saving. And you can see that, when you ask whether is it highly demand, I would say yes. You can see it's getting more people, people are getting stressful, and also compassion fatigue. And also when you are trained, it actually helps the practitioner itself to be more confident to deliver their services. That's why it's important to actually acquire a qualified social work paper, because this will actually benefit the worker themselves. They themselves will not be boxed down by stress. They themselves know how to actually take care of themselves, as well as when they respond to the overwhelming needs, they will actually able to hopefully with what they learn, they will be able to put into practice. Yeah, so I would, I would actually, how to say, when we're talking about people who are in the practice, who are already experienced, I believe that acquiring a qualified paper will actually help them to be regularly equipped to adapt and also to be skillful. Okay. And also for the young people, I'm not so sure how many of you I can't really see your face. Okay. So for people who first time hearing about it, maybe you are school leavers. For the young people, this is what I always tell the young people. I would like to challenge you all to consider social work profession, contribute to nation building effort. Okay. So this is what I always remember the quote from Nelson Mandela: the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort or convenience, but where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy. So this is the takeaway for the young people when you're talking about how, I think the question you asked, is it crucial, Malaysia need a qualified social worker? I guess, it really, you look at the current news, you will actually be alarmed, even suicidal cases are alarming, mental health, or even don't talk about, what affecting others. Think about if you are already in the field. Are you competent? Are you comfortable to actually deliver the service if you are not trained, if you are not properly trained? We are talking about do no harm, or this is one way we actually can contribute back to the society and to respond appropriately as well.
Now, we're also talking about, the younger generation. We do have quite a number of students, like currently in MCKL, they actually are interested in psychology. But, they only know in their mind psychology. There's so much more towards psychology that involves counseling, that involves mental health. You have all this drug and substance addiction. You learn about HIV as well. So it's very vast. It's a very big industry, and they do forget that social work is part of that industry. Social work is a good stepping stone, in order to move towards psychology in general. So, for all the youngsters, all the fresh graduates, or they just finished high school, they're trying to figure out what they want to do in life. With regards to social work, what are the career opportunities, after they've completed the diploma in social work? And also, what are the types of careers in the industry that they can explore? Ms. Jolyn, do you mind sharing a little bit on this for someone who has been in the industry? Both of you all have been in the industry very long, but I will take turns lah, okay? So Jolyn first, yeah.
Well, I would say social work is definitely part of that particular industry. Even if you want to go into psychology next time, if you take a diploma in social work, it's still within the same industry. If later on you want to apply as a psychologist, you could definitely. And if you want to talk about career opportunities, we've talked a little bit about how social workers are able to engage either in NGO settings, they can work in the government settings, and we also happen to know that in corporate settings, if some of you don't want, I don't want to work in NGO, no pay, I don't want to work with government, no pay, there are corporate companies that can or might consider, I cannot speak on behalf of any corporate companies, but we have known that certain HR does take social science background people, especially in terms of CSR, training and development, human relation, employee relations. These are the aspects where people with social sciences are able to go into. Right, so maybe Ms. Tina can elaborate a little bit more.
Just to add on what Jolyn has shared, yeah, you can be, you can actually work in the government setting as well as a non-profit or a non-organization, or even in a corporate sector. When we talk about corporate sector, we are referring to, welfare-oriented related. Yeah, we're talking about the employee assistance program. Yeah. So other thing that I could think of that, for graduates, yeah, they actually can consider to actually work in a advocacy-based organization. Yeah. So this is something I believe that, there's a potential. Yeah, there's a need as well. Yeah, we have direct services as well. We need people to actually look into the policy and administrative. Yeah, because in order to make changes at the ground, we definitely need this group of people, yeah, to look into it. So advocate for social change, or maybe a specific cause. Example, maybe sexual abuse and exploitation against children, women's rights, or even migrants' rights. And other career options potential. This is what I can foresee potential would be the aging care or disability care in future. Yeah, when we talk about, just now I mentioned about the ICHRA, and also I'm very concerned because we cannot deny the fact our country will reach an aging nation by 2030. So we have to be prepared earlier. So this is another field that will be likely more in demand when we talk about the aging care and the disability care as well. And of course, the mental health setting. So for young graduate, yeah, I have to revert back to the young graduate. I would suggest you to consider upon graduate, either you are at the diploma level or even in degree level in social work, to consider at least to take 2 years, 2 years to actually have a working experience in social work field before you continue. Yeah, either you want to move on to degree level or master or PhD level, at least take 2 years to actually what you learn to put into practice. Yeah, so this will actually put you, how to say, because social work is a hands-on experience. You require, besides knowledge and tool, you need to practice it out. You need to actually, what you learn and apply it. It is integral. And when you work with clients or even you work in group setting or community, you will gain new innovation. You will gain a different way or creative way to work with them. So with this, actually it contributes back to your own personal development as well as to acquire better skills so that next time you will know how to actually provide a better service to your client. And also, like I mentioned earlier, for existing practitioner in social service workforce, this will actually give you, confidence and also enhancement in your current job. You are more confident in your skills, and hopefully this will actually give you job satisfaction because you are more prepared to respond to needs. And also this will actually help your mental well-being to reduce inclination for fatigue and also burnout. So I often heard, especially this is from my experience. I often heard people in this field, they always say they are burnout, they are very tired, but one of the contributing factor could be they may not equip or prepared to respond to the complex demands, because for them it's always the same way of doing things. But with social work education, it actually helps to support their experience, and with whatever knowledge that they acquire, hopefully this will actually give them a boost and more confidence. So when they deliver service, they felt, it's not going by intuition, it's not going by past experience, but they have to take account ethical practice, how to respond, to respect the client as well. And also whether your profession, what you are doing, is it in line with the nation's policy and legislation framework as well. Yeah.
Very interesting, Ms. Tina and Ms. Jolyn. Thank you so much. Now, looking like as Ms. Tina said just now, before you actually commit yourself to a certain program or a certain degree, you would definitely need to gain the experience, just a taste, do something that's in the industry. You can actually volunteer, just a little, you can just go for a little taste of what is actually practiced in the industry, and then that will inspire you, into doing a certain degree or diploma, get a professional qualification before you actually commit yourself, and also actually when you actually practice in the industry itself. Now, speaking, let's move on to Ms. Marianne. She's been very quiet, very patient. Let's move on to Marianne, and let's get some information from her as an alumni who has already done the program. You have done your experience in the hotel industry as well. You have done, giving back to charity. You're involved in food banks, organizing a lot of events, especially to give back to charity, and also for nation building, things like that. So as an ex-MCKL student or an ex-DSW student who has already graduated, you're currently working in the industry, how did you actually come across the program back in the day? Back in the day, and how has it benefited you in your current job right now?
Yeah, thank you, Samantha, for the opportunity. Actually, my organization actually did kind of like mentioned it before. It said, hey, Marianne, you have been working with us for quite some time. Maybe you should be reconsider going for a diploma. So I didn't understand the word, what does it mean, diploma of social work, it's just doing social work, But little did I know that when I look at the brochure and all these subject, just like Jolyn has shown just a glance to it, I was quite attracted with many of these subjects, is because the role that I was playing, even though I was not was given a title as a social worker during that time, I was just only an administrator, and it gave me the understanding, oh, social work, actually there's so much, and whatever that I am doing right now in this organization, it does touches here and there. But do I actually know what I am doing? So that was the first thing that came to my mind of like, hey, you know, why not? And all these subjects actually touches every single of it. Food bank, the homeless, the drug addicts, everything is there. Even like special kids, I've been touching every single of these different department in the organization I am in. But how much do I know? I actually, to be very honest, I know very little. And I was very thankful that, of course, being in this organization, I was given the opportunity to, you know, to further on this. And it was quite interesting is that MCKL was the only college during that time in 2017 that had actually, given this kind of a program to working people like me, you know, who have no experience in social work. So yeah, so that's how I actually pursue it in that way and sign up for this program in 2017. Yeah.
Thank you, Marianne. Also, for individuals who are actually considering, you know, to enroll for the program, what can they actually expect from the program in terms of, you know, the syllabus wise and also your internship? Because I do believe that there's a part bit from the program that you actually go out and practice, even though you did the program as a part-timer, and you know, you have much more activities out there. You can also work with other NGOs as well. So, what is your intake on that?
Oh, actually, when I saw the brochure, the only thing that was attracted to me was actually the practicum. That really like, wow, I get to work in other organizations. That was actually the highlight for me. But what is my expectation during that time? I didn't expect a lot of things. All I know is that, going to college means study. Study means academic. And to be very honest, I'm really, really bad in this, okay? Seriously. But when the actual course started, it actually blew my mind. It's beyond my expectation. Why did I say that? Is because what blew my mind was the first thing is the lecturer. They are not just the lecturer of academic. These are the lecturers actually on the ground, on the field. When they teach, they don't teach by just looking at the book. They teach by what they know in the knowledge, and also based on their experience, and also sharing it with us. And that's really like amazed me, is because what I have, what I know is just that little things. But I didn't realize that through this course, it's a lot of not just only looking at books and looking at internet, but a lot of interactions. You get to interact with every of these lecturers because they are very professional in the sense that they are on the ground. So we were given in every class, we were actually was exposed to, like, you know, we were actually allowed to ask questions beyond just only in the books. But sometimes we even bring some of these cases that we could not even solve, in a sense that to become one of the case study to understand why certain things is not working, why certain things can be worked. So I find it that this whole diploma social work is not just only reading, but it's a lot of interaction and a lot of thinking and reflections during this whole course.
A lot of application.
Yes.
So do you as you know, as students, do you guys actually go out into the industry when you do your practicum, and then like you guys also come back to the classroom and, you know, share the real life cases actually going on, like you have no idea how to solve, so that's why you come back together and then you discuss with your lecturers who are actually in the industry, so you actually get different perspectives, different ideas and suggestions from these individuals?
Definitely, yes, I do agree on that. It's because, you see, with the little knowledge that I have, is basically that we come back in every practicums. It's not just only to pass up our assignment. It's really, it helps me to really understand situations like, you know, or certain group of people like migrant. Why are we seeing migrants are different from the locals here? So how do we actually, you know, deal with the migrants and our own local people here? So even though they are in in a poverty. So it helps you to see beyond, because the work that I do is different from what I was sent out to be. Like example is because I was actually in UNHCR. So it was kind of a different perspective that I see, okay? Because these are the UNHCR, we are working with the refugees. So it enhanced the way that I see things. And when I bring it back to the college, we have a lot of discussion with not just only the lecturer, but among our own, my peers, my classmates. So we actually share things together, and that's actually move beyond just being knowing the hate knowledge, but it's basically, it's also like what Tina and also Ms Jolyn mentioned about that. It's basically, it helps me also to understand the competency. You see, before that, I seriously know nothing about competency, know nothing why it is so important, the competency, the ethic of it, and the value of social work, nothing of this. But since I started the class, I have get the opportunity through this study, through this program, I was given opportunity to even practice it while I was still working, you see. So I get to study at the same time to practice what I am being taught in MCKL here, yeah.
Now, also based on your learning experience, how much have you actually applied, you know, whatever that you've learned in the diploma in your current job today?
Oh, a lot, a lot. Currently, because of my role right now, it's a social worker. It's the title was given. Besides just taking care of casework, I also get to practice a lot of all these example, because I have no knowledge about policy, about the different kind of laws. Right, right now, whenever that I go and see certain cases, all these policies that I have learned over this program actually help me to understand and how to apply it, not just to like, simply do things accordingly, I think what is right, but it's accordingly to what has been taught in the competency that I know. So that helps me to basically practice what I have learned, and at the same time, of course, able for me to network with other NGO, and also it helps me also to build my confidence in like making certain decisions, and also basically I can reflect better in that way. So it's a day-to-day that whatever that I do is basically I have to go back to the what I have learned, so that I would not go astray in a way that based on this social work the competency and the ethic was there. So it's kind of like build up the way that how I see social work. It's not just only a work, but it's basically, it's a professional work for me. So I take this quite seriously in that way, how to care and how to take care of different cases in different way. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's open the floor to Q&A. There's actually quite a number of questions that has been coming in while the three of you were speaking. Okay, so let's go with the first question. I will read out the question, and then whoever would like to answer, you can actually start first, and then if you would add on, you can add on along the way. Now, the first question is, there are many NGOs in Malaysia which is managed by people that might not have social work qualifications. Have you come across any problems that occurs from the lack of qualifications? Ms. Tina, perhaps you can share your thoughts on this.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Yeah. I guess I think that it mentioned here, have you come across any problem because of lack of qualification? I would say the concern is we can see I cannot really reveal a lot of information because I also bound by my ethical practice, but I would say that there are people that, workers has been serving so long, has been working, but I believe that you have, maybe in the newspaper you have came across, whereby abuse happen in orphanages, or abuse happen in, shelter home. So this is one of the scenario of many cases that maybe not being reported as well. So they are also, from my side, I actually do encounter quite a number of incidences which I would not be able to reveal because I think most of the cases that come to me is actually related to abuse, and also this will actually dampen the whole, actually it threatens the safety of the client as well, but we have to see what really happened, what causes it. First of all, it could be lack of competency, not sure how to deal with the client. Second is when you are not sure what to do, definitely this will actually lead to fatigue. Yeah, because you are so burnt out, you are so tired. So what more easy way when you come to handling clients? So some of the past experience that I encounter whereby the quite common is actually children, either male or female, they are being sexually abused by practitioner. I'm talking about social service workforce. I'm not talking about social work large, but I'm talking about people in the service, but they are just so burnt out, not sure what to do, Then there are also incidences whereby misabuse of fund. Yeah, misabuse of fund. Yeah, because they are not bound by, when social work, right, you have integrity, professional integrity. So you have to abide, adhere to the principles and ethics and value. But if without this, it's difficult for the practitioner to be conscious when fund come in. Yeah, so when there's a mismanagement of fund, definitely the children or maybe the clients, their well-being is not being taken care. Yeah, so this is one of the scenario that I've seen. Then other past scenario that I have seen is actually, this is from the substance abuse settings, whereby client is being, how to say, instead of understanding, instead of having a more systematic of case management, sometimes workers, they may actually use alternative approach when dealing with clients that are on substance abuse. So it may not be very favorable, and also sometimes it actually there are also form of physicals that require in order for the clients to actually submit to your program. So if the workers that are being trained know how to handle clients that are affected by substance abuse, then it will be much easier because we have a systematic case management and also case plan for the clients in their recovery. Yeah, either they are in the withdrawal stage or either they are in the process of recovery. Yeah, so these are, I would say, is happening. Yeah, I cannot say it's not happening. It is happening, but I believe that some is being reported in the news. Some you may not know about it unless you are in the field. When you are in the field, sometimes you will get to hear what other people are doing as well. Yeah, but that's why I would urge for people, I've seen some of them already serving for so many years. It's important for them to come to realization, hey, I really need help. Is there a training that I could acquire? Is there an education, a institution or place whereby I actually can learn more about social work practice? So hopefully this would actually minimize the abuse, not just to safeguard the client, but also to safeguard the staff, as well.
Thank you, Ms. Tina. Now, we are looking at a question which is more focused towards the micro-credentials. So, Ms. Jolyn, can a social worker practice with a micro-credential qualification?
Practice as a professional social worker. If you just have micro-credential, I would say no. Micro-credential is meant for those who are probably working as a volunteer, but they feel like they want to enhance certain areas. Okay, like I'm a volunteer, but I want to learn a little bit more about the policy and laws, and I can take that micro-credential just to enhance my skill. But to practice as a professional social worker, I don't think so, because you will need your qualification, either a diploma or a degree, before you are able to practice. You need a whole range, like all those subjects, all those holistic education and information. You need all those skills in order to practice as a professional social worker.
So theory and practice is very important in order to, to provide excellent service, I would say, as a social worker. Okay, also moving on with the micro-credential program. which program, which subject I would say is which can be done fully online, or does all the subjects need to be done like physically in campus?
Well, because right now how we offer our micro-credential, it is actually together, we'll combine those micro-credential students with our existing students. So how we run our part-time program will be alternate weeks. So 1 week face-to-face, 1 week online. So the people who join micro-credential will be expected to follow this schedule as well. Of course, during this time of pandemic, for the past, very sad, 1 year, we've been doing it all fully online. But our hopes is that we are able to go back to campus, because a lot of our subjects really need hands-on. It's very difficult to do it online. I think Marianne can attest to this. We have role play, we have discussion, we can do activities in class. So it's about really hands-on, practice-based education. So sometimes online is really a little bit of a struggle.
It is very challenging during these difficult times. Also, speaking about, all this role play and all that you do in classroom, Marianne, as someone who has already done the program and you're currently practicing it in your current job, as a social worker right now, do you get fatigued easily? And how do you recover and regain your mental energy?
Honestly, yes, we do have times that there are times we go through fatigue, there are also times we kind of like give up, but the causes, because it's not just only about practicing, about reaching out, about case management, like some of the subject like, psychology, it helps, basically it helps me to understand like certain things. Like I think one of the things that I learned, and it's still, until today, I still kept in mind is that, as a social worker, people will always think that, oh, we are the hero, we are going out there and save the world and save the people, But in this program, it doesn't teach us this way, because we are also human, you see. We also have time when we are really down and we are emotionally will be affected. Honestly, seriously, it happens, okay, even to myself. And how does it helps, in a sense that through knowing all this knowledge that I gain, is that I was, through the course, is I have to telling myself that, look, Marianne, you are not there to be a hero. Because in this social work, we are not just taught to be heroes, we are actually taught to be working together with different groups of people. Example, we may not be qualified as doctors or even as a psychologist, but as a social worker, we are actually supposed to be working together. I repeat, working together with doctors, okay, with psychologists, to help those of our clients who have mental issue. Our role is not just like giving out food. Our role is actually working with the client, you see, and how to help them to get out from whatever that they are going through. So in a sense that for me to overcome certain of these things in the class, it does actually have subject to help us like learn to let go certain thing and when to pick it up. Because one of the things that we were taught is actually there are times we need to let go of our clients, because we have to understand that some clients are not ready. So do not push it through. So I guess that was the thing that I learned, because before that I was trying to be a hero, try to push it through. But when I realized that I have to learn how to let go, because at the end of the day, it is not about, basically just helping the client, but it also is also about me, mentally to be right to say that, okay, they are not ready. So I need to step back and let it go. Yeah, so that's how I actually, in a sense, that learning to cope with that. Of course, secondly, is that one of the things that we learn also is that we learn to speak it out with our supervisor, even like lecturer. Like I said, there are times when while working, we get to talk to our lecturer, to say that these are the days. So talking it out with lecturers, with our supervisor, it helped us to actually, like for me, is to refocus back what I need to do and to let go certain of this frustration that I have, the fear, the emotions that I have. So these are all was taught in the class, you see. So it's not just helping people, but also it's helping myself and to understand where I am, so that if one of the things is that if I do not understand myself, then I will not be able to go out and help others. So this course actually had taught me to learn how to be able to help myself first, then only I can go out to help the other people who are in need. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Marianne. Now, Ms. Jolyn, I have a question from one of our viewers. With the diploma, will they be able to pursue a career overseas? As you know, some countries, they actually require social workers to be licensed by the organizations. So can you give your input on that?
Well, we have had several cases of students or people with diploma in social work wanting to work in other countries. It really depends on which country and what their requirements is. Certain countries or when they go to another country, they want to verify our diploma, they will actually give a call to our association, the Malaysian Association for Social Workers, to verify whether or not this person has taken this course, did they pass. So all this information could be conveyed to the other country. So whether or not a country accepts it, that really depends on the other country, I would say. All right. But if you talk about in terms of like syllabus, if you want to go overseas to further into degree, well, there are certain of our credit hours that will be able to transfer, but also depending on which universities and what do they accept. And in that case, MCKL or rather DSW will help our students in terms of collaborating, in terms of giving any information that other university needs in order for them to be able to credit transfer. So all these assistance we will provide.
And this is also all based on a case-by-case basis, you know, if the student would like to do a degree in social work itself.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So,
now,
sorry,
looking at...
Sorry.
Yes, Tina, sorry.
Just to add on to Ms. Jolyn, to clarify, our association, Malaysian Association of Social Worker, we do not actually verify the course itself. We are not authorized to verify. Yeah, for verification, you have to refer back to MOHE as well as MQA. Yeah, but definitely we do have common inquiries. People who want to work overseas, they want to know, are you attached to a specific recognized professional body? So what they will do is we have to issue them, if they are our member, we have to issue a letter before they actually got hiring. So most of common requests come from Singapore as well as Australia. Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you so much, ladies. Now, Ms. Jolyn, looking at we're looking at internship, right? Could you just provide? I don't know whether it's possible, whether you could provide names of our partners where our students would actually go and carry out their internship.
Many different aspects, and it really sometimes we do have a list of partners that we usually send our students to, but some of our students, if they say, look, Jolyn, I don't want to go to what you have, I want others, no problem, we'll help them engage, we'll help them talk to the organization, we'll set it up. I guess we do send our students to multiple different areas, including YKPM, we do send them to Malaysian CARE, we do send them to, like Marianne went to UNHCR, a lot of different areas. So it really depends on where the student wants to go, what their interest is in, where do they want to try. So as long as the organization is open to taking our students as interns, we will be able to assist.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Jolyn. Now, Ms. Tina, as someone who practices, who's a current social worker, and also you've been in the industry for quite some time, can you give us a picture or a very general summary of what is your day-to-day being a social worker like?
Like I think earlier I mentioned, because I have to clarify that I come from a community development setting. Yeah, so my practice is generic. So I'm actually, may talk about the current focus. Of course, I'm actually looking into advocacy as well as network related to social work profession. So it is my role to actually promote the cause especially for those people who do not have basic qualification in social work, either at a certificate or diploma entry. Then also as well to actually assist with the Malaysian Association of Social Worker as part of my portfolio. Other than that, back to my agency, this is actually my primary role, my primary focus. So I'm actually also involved with the Child Right Coalition Malaysia to look into writing status report, monitoring, and also leading the disability cluster in the past. But due to my work commitment, I recently had to drop out and hopefully the next person to actually take over to look into the monitoring situation of children with disabilities in Malaysia. So other than that, like I mentioned, my work is very generic. I actually travel to villages to actually do monitoring, as well as to actually provide, to actually do participatory management for, how to say, for villagers to actually learn how to actually teach or educate children in the village. So but due to MCO, I can't really travel to the OA village. Yeah, but this is one of my core job, to actually organize community. So instead of telling them what they actually need to do, they have to tell me, and also we actually gather them together to do community mapping. So we map out what are the resources in the village, how many trees, what are the resources, and also what are the skills among the villagers, the mothers, what can they do, yeah, and also the fathers, what can they do. So we actually assess the situation, and also we actually, I'll say from the group, we actually allow the participants to tell us what is their need, during that time. Not for us to tell them what I think they should need. Actually, they would know better in their community. Then for us, my role is actually to facilitate, so that they themselves able to see potential, they're able to see gap. Hopefully this will actually help them to adapt and to be more resilient. Yeah, because it is important. I always believe that clients, the community themselves, they have the answer, they have the solution. Yeah, it's just that whether do we have the, give them an opportunity to facilitate the platform for them, so that they actually can respond, able to utter and express their needs. Other than that, it's very varied. I also, in the past, besides with the OA education, I'm also helping out the case management system within the agency itself. So I actually help to train younger colleagues to actually look into how to actually go through the phases of case manage, and also how to actually utilize when you got a case, how do you actually conduct the interview session, how do you actually write out the report, how do you assess the situation, what kind of treatment plan, and also is the treatment plan between you and the client, is it being agreed? Not you doing it, but the client have to participate from the beginning until the end before we terminate the case. So I think this is my bulk work. Yeah, it's more gearing towards, because it's a very mixed. I have opportunity to have a direct practice, as well as the role of administrator. That means to look into policy, to look into training the existing staff, to look into more competency practice. Yeah. So when you say daily work of social work,
that's a lot of hats you're playing right now, Ms. Tina.
It's really depend, because I believe Marianne come from a different setting. For me, because I'm more generic. Yeah. So I got a chance to actually travel to Kudat and also Katamarudu to work with the children in the interior, looking into inclusion program. Yeah, so it's really diverse. Yeah, and also experience working with the families in the B40. So what we do is we actually look into the needs of the family function. Yeah, we don't just go there and give them grocery, but we look at the whole family function. So it requires a bit of skill. Instead of just give them grocery, we actually assess and talk to the family, and also to identify what are the priorities that they really need in order for them to actually able to cope with the situation. We are not talking, we're not talking about, we are not talking about, when we help the family, the family condition will be better. We are talking about amid of darkness, amid of the current condition, what can they do to be more resilient? Yeah, I think there's a lot of idea that, yeah, social worker, you must make sure that the people in the community, in the PPR, eventually they can, they can have certain earning. They can, that is very ideal. But I guess we have to be more realistic, and also have to understand the cultural context that we are living, the cultural context and the practice. Yeah, and also I think instead of changing them, we have to really be mindful what is acceptable for that community context as well. Yeah, because sometimes our city mindset may not be very applicable to the community that we are working with.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, social work, you know, looking at what you just explained, social work is not only, you know, you practice it, it's actually an adventure for you. Okay, so we'll cover the last two questions. Miss Jolene, now there's a question about Penang. So so the question is from Miss Helen, and the question is there a facility to do the degree online or the diploma online if you actually live in Penang?
Unfortunately, Helen, our license only allows us for blended learning. So yes, we can do online, but we have to do face-to-face as well, because that's all that our license in MCKL allows us to do. We are not an online distant learning center like OpenU. So unfortunately, we cannot do all of our classes online. The only exception is during this pandemic that we had to do it full online. Other than that, we really do need our students to come back on many different reasons. One, we really do need a hands-on practical part of our training. Okay. Second thing is like, it's very difficult for us to teach online when it comes to when we want to teach them skill intervention. Those things you need hands-on practice. You need to be able to role play with your classmates, or like when we teach counseling skills, it's very difficult for counseling skills to be taught online, especially since, you know, when you want to practice, you must be able to see your beneficiaries' voice, body language. How are they reacting to your questions, or how are they reacting to your statements? All these we really do need hands-on practice. So unfortunately, we don't have a full online program.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jolene. All right, the last question. Let's end it with Marianne. And you know, Marianne, you've been from the hotel industry. There's a question that someone is asking to do with the social work program. Do you really need to be involved in social work? You know, you can come from any other industry. What is your intake on this? This is our final question for today, everyone. Marianne will finish her answer, and then we will do the closing soon.
Okay, one of my passionate is about people, you see. So in the hotel industry is also people. I guess along the way, as I was working in this industry, I realized that people needs is beyond just only about serving, just only about food, but it's also about, in a way, it's a holistic about mental, spiritually, or physically, you see. So why I choose to be in taking this DSW is because I really want to go beyond just only serving people, you know. It's like, especially right now, we are in this pandemic, you see, as we all know about what is happening out there, okay, don't have to go too far, just only our own country, okay. Every day, like Ms. Tina was mentioning that, you know, depressions, you know, people are killing themselves, you know, day by day. It's just like right now, because of my role, just only yesterday, you know, I went and do a visitation in one of these community. You know, people talks about this white flag, you know, all these things. And I'm also curious at the same time, you know, what are these people are feeling? I mean, at the end of the day, we can read as much as we want on the news, but unless or otherwise, you need to be on the ground to actually taste and feel it, you see. So, and that's moved me to go beyond just only knowing my so-called my customer, but they are not my client. They are not just only my client, they are friends, you see. So it helps me to understand in a sense that beyond just helping. So social work is like, you know, oh, must I become a social work? I would not say that it's going to be stopped there. Social work is actually, it requires like a daily develop, okay? It's a daily learning. So does it mean that I am now graduate as a diploma student? Does it mean that I stop here? No, I actually still learning. How do I do that? Is by practicing what I have learned and doing it out there, you know, not just only helping, but also advocating people out there. So social work is just not just bound only for social work itself, but it also helps. Like even if you know any of your family members are going through depression, okay, social work actually helps me to see some of the symptoms. You know, how do I look at it and how do I approach them? You see, even like I have a nephew who have a mild ADHD. You see, So when my sister were not aware about it, and through this course, I actually began to realize that, oh, I had saw this symptom, but I wasn't sure about it until I get them to go and do a diagnosis to say that it is confirmed. So there are ways, to not just only bound on the job I am right now in my organization, but social work actually is go beyond by helping your own family members or your friends, okay, and also helping yourself. So I would not just say that social work, DSW is only just for social worker work, but it's actually generally for everything. Yeah, so that's my
Thank you, Marianne.
my take
Thank you,
right there.
Marianne. Very nice closing. Now, everyone, tomorrow we are having an e-registration day. If you'd like to know more or speak to our social work counselors one-on-one, please visit us at www.mckl.edu.my/open day. You can actually register and make an appointment to speak to our program advisors, especially from the Diploma in Social Work department. And I would like to close by wishing everyone a good, blessed weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. And closing, I would like to say, please join us for an emotionally rewarding, ethically inspiring, and socially impactful program. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good weekend. Speakers, panelists, please stay back. Thank you.